Hi, this is Joe from Prolific Audio. I'm here going to walk you through our installation video for our 9500 kit for the Jeep JL 18 newer. All you need is a number 2 screwdriver, a 10mm socket, and a pry tool. So first we're going to do is stop and take the knee bolster off. So take your pry tool, pull straight off towards you. The whole thing snaps off with 6 clips. Place that somewhere else. Step 2 would be to take off the instrument panel for the HVAC controls. Same thing, I'd start down here in the corner. Get your finger behind it. I'm not prying against the dash, I'm just pulling on the part with my pry tool. Okay, it's about 8 clips holding that on. Just go ahead and disconnect it, get it out of the way. Now we're going to take the radio out, so we got to take 2 screws out the bottom, put them in your cup holder so you don't lose them. It's held in by 4 clips. Now you got 4 screws you got to take out to get the radio out. Take the D-press clip out. Remove this clip here, you got to push it in here, right there, and it pries up, and you rotate the clip around it, and it comes out. And remove the USB, and the camera cord. Okay. Now we're going to remove this bottom piece here. It's got 1 screw here. Take that out. It's got 4 clips holding in on both sides. Just hold on it. You don't need to unplug any of this, we can just leave that there like that. You'll see here in a few minutes why that is. And we got to take the pillar upholster off. So it comes off with 4 clips as well. Now we're going to take this off. There's 2 10mm screws under here, so we're going to click that off. Same with that. It comes out. Also has 1 clip on it there. The thing comes out. Now we're going to remove the glove box. Pretty much open the glove box up. Bar over here on the side. Push up. It comes out. And you push up on the dash right here, on here, releases the clip here, and the whole glove box comes out. All right, so now we're gonna start the installation. While we got the A-pillar and the speaker grill off, we're gonna clean the dash with some alcohol down here by the speaker. Get all the dust up, make sure it's clean, so our double stick tape has something to stick to. We're gonna start running the mic wire. Mic wire is going to sit up here. You can mount it wherever you'd like. I'm just going to give you an idea where we put ours. It comes with a flat mount that you can double stick tape to as well. I recommend doing that, but we're not going to do this for the purpose of this video. So the kit includes some zip ties. Zip ties, make sure. The reason why we're using the zip ties is because there's 2 bolts that hold this A-pillar on, and we don't want to screw through those when we put our A-pillar back on. So I would use 4 zip ties. Stay away from those screws as much as you can. Pair of flush cutters. All right, now we get our GPS antenna. While we're up here, we're going to do that as well. We're also going to tuck this wire behind. For the time being, we're just going to put it in here and lay it on top of the speaker like that. All right, so I'm going to put the A-pillar back on. Pull the microphone out of the way for the time being. Over here on this side. Put it in. I recommend starting the screws by hand so you don't cross thread them. So we generally, like I said, we usually stick the microphone up here with a stick pad. We'll include that with you. The kit, you can do it if you like, but for this purpose, we're just going to mount the antenna like that. Now, since we have our GPS antenna back here, there's double stick tape on the back of it. Since we clean the dust off the dash, it'll stick right here in the corner, and it's stuck. All right, and we'll put the grill cover back on. All right, so now we're done with that. I'm here to show you how to modify the main unit. To start off, we pretty much have to take this top cover off. There's 3 screws we have to remove. Cover comes off, set to the side. You can have 4 screws here we're going to take out on this lower heatsink cover. Set that aside, drop the bolt. Okay, next step is to take this front black thing off. Right tool. Alright, that whole thing slides off. Set that aside, we don't need that anymore. So now there's a bar here for the ribbon cable. You flip that up. Okay, you can pull the ribbon cable out at that point in time. You have this GPS or Bluetooth antenna. I'm not real sure which one it is. Be careful with that, it pries straight up. I recommend using plastic. I'm just gonna use my fingernail. Comes up, okay. Now we're gonna flip it upside down. Take these 2 screws out. Now we're gonna flip it on the side. There's 2 of these screws on both sides. Take those out. Okay, now we can slide this whole chassis out. Goes forward, comes apart like that. Okay, now we're ready to do the modification. Set this to the side, we don't need this at the moment. In the kit, you're gonna get a 500mm ribbon cable. Blue side goes up. You're gonna insert it fully into the ribbon card carrier. And you're gonna, once it's fully seated, you'll see it won't go side to side, and then you're gonna flip the bar back down and lock it in. Now you wanna make sure this blue line is the same size on both sides. I can see it's a little closer on this side than this side, so I need to redo it and get it right. There we go, now we got an even line, so now we're good there. So at that point in time, let's go back to this again. We need to take out the Bluetooth antenna. Number 2 screw down the hole. All right, take that out. Next step is to take the Bluetooth antenna we just took out. We will not use this screw anymore, we can get rid of it. We need to drill this hole larger so our 1/2-inch screws will fit through it. Now we're going to take our kit that we get the ribbon cable in. We're going to attach this plastic by these 2 screws here. Bluetooth mic goes on the side of the ribbon cables. All right, now we're ready to put the carrier back on. So we got to get this in there first, so we go and snap that down. Okay, and then this goes on top. We're going to use the little black screws that have the coarse threads. There's 4 of them. Go ahead and put those back in. All right, so now put the ribbon cable over the top. I'll line this up here, like this. On the 9500, there's a screw back here. The 8500 does not have the screw. So now we're just gonna have to, we're gonna notch this here, get it so it's not pushing the ribbon cable on the back side. So I would mark it with a pen, or if you have something to cut it with, just take your cutters, I know it's right here, so I'm going to give it a little notch. Okay, take a bull nose pliers or lineman's pliers. We're going to bend that bar up. Try to straighten the sheet metal back out again. It'll look something like that. At this point, I'd recommend using some acetate on both the top and the bottom surfaces. And if you want to go around the ribbon cable, it's not a bad idea as well. Make sure you don't cover up that screw hole. All right, now we're ready to put the lid back on. Now I got black screws to put back in. In here, pretty much you're going to take it all apart. We're going to take all these screws out. So that screw and then these two here. So now we need to take these two black screws out here. And then this cover by flipping the back side up and then coming off. Two more black screws, remove those. Green itself. You got to adjust the carrier here, so we're going to slide this carrier all the way to the top, slide this carrier down 3 positions. So we need to take these 4 screws out and loosen these 3 screws up. Let's slide down and tighten it back up there. Slide it to the top, put these back in. Now we want to take these 2 screws out here. Small flathead screwdriver, you want to slide it onto the side here. Just pop it up very carefully. We will need those 2 screws, so take those out. Okay, set that aside. In your kit, you're going to get 2 pieces of plastic that look like this. To assemble that, we're going to slide the ribbon cable through the hole to the back side until it sits flat. The indentation goes towards the top, so it'll slide there, slide it in there, so you get all the way to the top, and then it's in. So now we're going to slide the carrier board on top of here. So it's going to be hard to see maybe, but slide it in there, and you feel it lock in like that. Then we're going to put these 2 black screws back in there the same way we took out one up. All right, within the kit itself, you're going to have 2 side brackets here. One has an R, one has a left on it. One has an R and one has an L. So the idea is if you're looking at the kit like this, where the buttons on the right, obviously a 9500 has buttons on the top. The right will be on the right side as you're looking at it. So the right will go on this side and the left will go on this side. I'm gonna turn this around, but that's the sides that go on. And when you mount them up to it, it'll look like this here. So within the kit, there'll be 4 screws like this. We're gonna go ahead and install this in them. All right, so now we're going to install the plate. You can see there's a hair cell side and there's a non-hair cell side. The hair cell side is going to go down on this one. Slide it over there like this. Within the kit itself, you're going to get 4 3/4 inch number 6 screws. We're going to go ahead and put these in now. Line up your holes. Do not over tighten them. Get them close, and I recommend hand tighten them in the rest of the way. All right, that's all we do with this. This is the bracket from under the driver's side dash underneath the steering column. The power inverter for the rear outlet in the back of the center console gets mounted here with these 3 bolts. We're not going to use them, so you unbolt them. Get rid of that module there. You can mount it later in the car. I'll show you how. The heating seat module clips on the bottom of this bracket here. You can unclip it and get it out of the bottom of the car, but this is the bare bracket. You have to take the nuts, certs off of these. They slide off. You're going to take your 9500 brain kit that we're going to send you in the box, flip it upside down. And take this, we're gonna flip it so it's flat like that. But the 2 holes are towards this side of the bracket, towards the bend here. So line them up here. Gonna include 3 of these in the kit and some screws. Put them in here. These will hold the bracket in place while you screw it down. Line your holes up. And screw all 3 down tight. Okay, when you're ready to mount it, put the ribbon cable over the bar. It's a tight fit, so you put the front up first, go high, and you kick the back of the unit out over the cross member. This tab here is going to go behind the metal cross member, so make sure you get it over it. You have to, it's a tight fit, so you have to move it around, and it'll fall down to position there. Up the heated seat module. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. But if you have it, it goes in the bottom of the metal bracket. These fingers go in the metal holes first, and the other side goes up, clips in. If you want to retain this, you don't have to. You can unplug it, not use it. All that's going to happen is your 110 out when the back of the steering console doesn't work. You can also, if you look on the top of the accelerator pedal, it's going to be hard to show you in the video. There's a hole, and this hole lines up with. We recommend putting a zip tie through it, or you can even screw into that cross member with a screw here, and it mounts up here like that. So out of sight, and you can still retain it that way if you'd like. All right, now we're going to install our control module, which goes up under the steering column. First, we want to route our ribbon cable over the bar. Be gentle with ribbon cable. It's not very fragile, but we don't want to rip it. Either go straight up. This will eventually be over the heater controls in the back. You won't be able to see it in this video here, but go up, tilt it back over, and come back down. There's 2 threaded inserts in the metal from the factory. We're going to put our screws in, included with the kit. There's that side. There's that side. Just have a screwdriver. it down. All right, we're going to run our GPS antenna or microphone cable over that we ran earlier. Let's take the ends of the cable. Go up over the metal bar. Same with the microphone cable. Sharp metal there, so make sure they go smoothly. Take your time. All right, so you get them like that. What I like to do, the easiest way to do is just start pulling them around your hand. We're gonna leave them about that long. Just leave them like that. We'll finish it off when we do the other side real quick. So I squeeze it down in the middle and take your zip tie. And then cut your zip tie. Now we're gonna mount a ribbon cable. So we want to make sure we don't get this all twisted as we run the cable, so try to run it as flatly as possible so we don't get any kinks in the cable. First step would be to get it up in here, bring it through the push to start hole. Slowly pull it through, make sure it doesn't cut on anything. Okay, now we're going to try to get it up behind this piece of plastic here, in between the metal. It's going to take a couple tries to get it there. But since I have light on the camera, it's going to probably be easier for me. I recommend pointing the camera down there for you as well. The light down there, and then slowly pull that up. For the time being, we're going to put this on top of the dash if it'll stay. Okay. All right, now we're going to install the wiring harness. This is a Prolific audio harness. It's all pre-made, everything's soldered, ready to go. It's all plug and play, no wiring has to be done on your part. The stock harness here, we need to find out if it's amplified or not amplified. There are 8 pins here in the bottom right hand corner of the plug. So if all 8 pins are plugged with wires, you are not amplified. If the middle 2 are missing, you just have 2 on the ends and 2 on this end, that means you're amplified. So in this case, since we have all 8 pins occupied, we are non-amplified. So we're going to take our harnesses, so white goes to white and green goes to green with not amplified. If it is amplified, you have to switch these around. Green goes to white, white goes to green. That's how it'd be configured if it was amplified, meaning there were no pins in the middle 2 positions, just 2 wires on this side and 2 wires on the other side. But since we are not amplified, we have to plug it in like this. To run the harness, I'm going to locate this band of Tessa tape right here. We're going to squish it a little bit. We're going to put it in this crack. It looks like it's much tighter than it looks, but once it gets in there, it slides in there just fine. Okay. So now we're going to run, you'll notice this plug here as well. This also gets run up through that same little gap. Okay. For the time being, just get that out of the way. So now we have all these plugs here. We're going to take our module here. It's also included in the kit. These will be bundled up in your cords. One will be an aux jack. The other one's going to be a 4-pin plug. 4-pin plug to 4-pin plug. The aux jack has aux on one side and a 3-pin plug on the other. You're going to plug in the bottom of the module like this. Now we're going to plug in the rest of these harnesses into this module. Green plug goes to green plug. 3-pin black plug goes to 3-pin black plug. This large black plug goes there, and the small black plug goes there. So now we're like this. So all we're going to do now is we're going to take these 2 wires. We're going to go through this hole here. I don't know if you can see it. Just try to make sure you see it. We're going to go through here and then out up this hole here. Those 2 wires are ran through there. You're not going to want to see how I went around this harness. You're not going to want to go around the harness like I just did. So make sure you're on the same side of the harness as this one here. Okay, so that's that. We're going to run our antenna wire from up here to down there. You're going to have 2 pieces in your antenna kit. I've already got them taped together, but this is the antenna adapter portion of it. This is what's going to plug into the white harness here. It's going to plug in here. And the other one's going to have a standard Motorola end on it, which is going to plug down and underneath the steering wheel into the radio housing itself. So we have to route this one from up here to down there. Easiest way to do it is pretty much going through the same holes that we just did. And up here for the time being, we are not plugging this in till the very last step, so make sure you don't plug this in yet. So you can get wire in there. Do not need to go under and back up. This time you can just come straight over this step here. So now we need to run all three of these through the hole here. So sometimes it's easiest to get one going. Got wires out. Now we need to run this one, same thing. Be careful of the ribbon cable. We're not trying to rip the ribbon cable out of the dash. Same thing with this one. And now our main radio harness goes through the same hole. So now down here we have both data cables, our main radio harness, and our antenna wire. We also have to run a video cable down for our backup camera retention harness. We're gonna get to that in 1 minute. So next thing will be the video retention. All right, so since we have all our cords down here now, with the exception of the backup camera retention harness, we're gonna now mount this harness and get this back in place. So this is what plugs in the back of the HVAC controls. Make sure that's out and not tucked down in there. This module here will sit in the dash right back here. Make sure these are above, and then this will snap back in. It's a tight fit, but it does fit. Goes like that. Now you're gonna put your screw back in. Don't forget about that one. It's a number 2 screw. Okay, now we're gonna get on the video retention of the backup camera. Now we gotta run this cable up, down as well. So the two plugs go down, the one plug stays up. So we're gonna run that down. That comes down too. All right, so now we're ready to hook up the control module. Everything's down here. We have our GPS antenna. We have our microphone cord that goes up there to the top of the A-pillar. This is our rear camera cord. So now we're going to start plugging things into the radio itself. We have our radio harness here. We have our 2 control harness from the behind the cigarette lighter, the module we mounted earlier. And then our USB. We're not going to go over where we're going to mount the USB. You can pretty much put it wherever you want. We generally put it on the passenger side of the center console, but you can run it, like I said, anywhere you want, so we're not going to go over that. So we're going to start plugging things in. We got our antenna wire. Goes in the bottom left-hand corner. Seated. All right, the next thing over is your microphone, which is in a red port. Now we have our data module plug, which is our aux jacks, goes in that black port. Now we have the backup camera, white harness, goes in that lower port. This is our GPS antenna. We're not going to use the blue port at all. Plugs in. Now we have a 4-pin data port. Try to keep your wires going the same direction so you don't have a mess when you're trying to bundle them up. That goes into that port. All right, our main harness goes in the bottom port. And then if you do have a satellite radio module that you're retaining, the satellite radio goes into the right side, right just to the right of the module there, and that's where your satellite radio goes in. And now we're going to plug in the USB. And that goes into there. All right, so let's bundle this up, make it look nice. Try to get everything blanked out right. connections. Bundle. We have our can wire, which is here. I've already got one pre-unloaded because they're kind of hard to get out. Pull one of them out. You'll see there's a little depressed clip here. You got to push in with this flathead screwdriver. Plug one end into here. The other end back into the block. All right, and make sure these wires are out of the glove box's way. Just make sure they're behind this bar here. You should be fine. Bottom goes in first. Slides in and closes. All right, now we gotta get the radio plugged up so we can now attach the harness. Clicks in. This harness from below goes into this 2-pin plug here. So this may be connected when you get it. Unplug them too. And plug the new harness from the can connections down low into there. And then that's all the wiring we have to do with the radio itself. All right, so now we're going to take our fascia mounting hardware. Just get this out of the way. It's going to be centralized in the back like this. Try to move as much of the cords out of your way as possible. We're just going to dry fit it here, so it's going to sit right here. So now we need to clean these bars off with alcohol. It's very important. Get a good bead. Okay. Now we're going to peel the tape. You want to make sure you get this centered on there the first go, so once it sticks, it sticks. There's a little bit of clearance, so you can kind of play with it till you get it in the middle. And once it feels right, you'll feel like it won't go back and forth anymore. At that point, just push in on the 4 points, and it'll stick to the dash itself. Once it's stuck to the dash, you see it's pretty firm there. Now I gotta get rid of this bar. This is just a shipping bar, so it doesn't break during shipping. Let's cut that out of the way. All right, so now we're ready to mount the control module into the dash, the 9500. So we need to make sure we have this harness located between these two vents, back close to the wall as possible, or the radio will hit it and won't let the radio go in and slide up in a position like we need it to. Make sure these harnesses are laying flat, everything's out of the way as much as possible. We gotta now connect the ribbon cables. This is your ribbon connector. So they're going to come to you like that. In order to use them, you have to flip these bars up so they're 90 degrees up in the air. Put the ribbon cable in, you have to make sure the blue side is up. That is the side that goes on top. Sure, you'll know when you have it in there because it'll feel snug. And then lock them down like that. Same thing on this one here. Be good to have a friend help you if you can. Try not to have it all curled up on you. So once again, blue is up. Just make sure it's all the way seated in there and flat. And then push the bar down. Now it's ready to go. So now to install the radio, try to keep the ribbon cable from getting bonded up. So try to keep it under the radio. Let's just have it go down. On the back side, you'll see there's a tooth here. There's a hole in the dash this tooth is going to slide into. That's what's going to lock it into the dash. So we're going to hold it down. Start low. We're going to find that hole. Sliding it back and forth. There it is. And now we're going to slide it up into position. Point, You see these two holes down here, they line up. And now place screws into there. Now the screen is mounted. So now we're ready to put the front fascia back on. Take your lower piece from the kit, slides on here. Look on the back side, the plastic webs from the injection molding slides forward and onto there. Just push it until it stops. Pull your HVAC controls in. Pull your lower push start button in. Slides in. Snap it back in place. Only thing we'll have to do now is put the lower protector on. And there you go. All right, so now you're fully installed. Now we can power it up, do the initialization of it. The demo mode, you want to turn that off. Hit OK, close. We're going to hook up a Bluetooth source to it. Connect. We're going to add a new device. Then you'll do your Bluetooth settings on your phone. Looking for a 9500. As soon as you see the 9500, click it. It'll pair up. Go through all the prompts on your phone. Allow. Enable. And now use CarPlay on your phone. All right, now you're fully connected. Just gonna go to home. Steering controls, everything hooked up, working. Start the car, use the backup camera. Reverse. Backup camera shows up. Or enjoy your new radio. Thanks. Prolific Audio.